step 4 in unlocking happiness in your life is to make the change. So I want to go over the first few steps, especially 2 and 3, because they seem to be the most important. Step 1 was finding a safe space or creating your safe space. That could be in your house. That could be someplace you go, just where you have a private place that you can feel that's your own, so that you can do step 2, which is to reflect on your life and to really ask questions about your feelings regarding your job, regarding your home, community, environment, and regarding your relationship. Once you do that, you'll kind of get an idea. You'll really see, oh my God, these are the areas that are making me unhappy. This area is for these reasons. This might be for this reason. And when you start to take a look at that, you want to look at what you can do inside yourself to help yourself. So that's why step 3 was getting help. And that getting help could be through a counselor, through a mentor, through coaching. There's plenty of things on just all over online that, you know, even if they're just free for the first few days and then it's pay after, you can do the first few days for free and get this little bit of knowledge up to move you forward. But I encourage, if you're having some issues with deep, you know, trauma or past trauma, to look to counseling, something like that. Go to a professional. And nowadays, with, you know, during the pandemic, you can do this online through telehealth. So you don't even have to leave, excuse me, you don't even have to leave your house. So going on, once you get help, the reason you want to get help is because you want to be the strongest person that you can be to deal with the change that you're going to make, because I'm going to tell you what happens after step 2. When you start reflecting on your feelings and your life, and you look at your life as if it was a movie, and when you say, oh my gosh, this is not a romance in my relationship, or this is like these people that go to a job every day and they hate their job, or oh, their house, an area they feel unsafe, and, you know, peeking out of the curtains every night. It wakes you up to the reality of your life. And once you're woken up and really look at what may be causing your unhappiness, you can't close your eyes to it anymore. So you are forced almost into the step 4, which is making the change. Okay, and that you need the most. You need all of your strength in order to make the change, because sometimes change can be very difficult. So let's talk about what change may look like in your job. If you were in a job that you're unhappy, that you're not respected, that you go in every day and you just, you know, look at the clock and you count down the time, that is not healthy for you, and that really is not the way you should live your life. You should live your life happy. I believe in that. We're meant to be happy, and this is not talking about outside events and accidents and things that can occur. This is things that we can control, and we can control our work environment. We can control the job that we do. We need to do the jobs that we love. We need to find what we're meant to do and what we're really good and talented at and gifted, and what we're born to do. And that comes from something inside. And when you sit down and reflect on, you know, what would I really like to do? If I had all the money in the world and I could do whatever I wanted as a career, what would it be? That gets you started on that conversation. So it may be that your change is changing your career. You know, start looking into other fields or things that you can do online as the change that you can make, courses that you can take online to kind of get you started on that path to a new career. Is it just your workplace? Do you love what you do, but your work environment is hostile or stressful? Well, then you want to make sure that you change that work environment. Start looking for other companies. Once you start, you make the decision. Once you make the decision to change your life and your job, then you'll see that things start opening up. You'll start seeing that you'll get like a strange email come in, or you're searching on the web and suddenly, you know, this position comes up and you're like, that's weird, you know, and it kind of like the universe is like answering your efforts. I think that's what I call it. It's like the universe is answering your call for help. Okay, because you're helping yourself. So once you start helping yourself and making those choices, you'll see that things start opening up for you. And you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that, hey, I can do this. This is not impossible. Someone else has found happiness in their job. I can do it too. Because we're really meant, we spend so much of our life at work. It's just terrible what you're doing to your health or your body. If you're going to a job at somewhere and you are waiting, you're counting down the minutes to when you can leave, or lunch break, to just so you have time to yourself or whatever it is. So if you're unhappy with your work environment, whether it's the job that you're doing, the career you've chosen, or the people that you work with, you can make change. Okay, so start looking for that. I'm going to skip on to the community and do relationship last. Okay, so what about your home? What about the neighborhood you're living in? What about the type of home you have? If you're renting, that's easy to make change. You can start looking for other rentals. You can start looking for other communities. I've moved several times until I moved here to Hawaii, where I finally found the peace in my home environment. But really, before I got here, I did a lot of research. I started looking at communities. I lived in Florida and looked at communities all over Florida that had aspects of things I liked, whether it was historical, whether it was, the amenities nearby, close to a beach, the nightlife, whatever it was. I kind of did my research, and then once I did my research and say, okay, this sounds good, you then go visit. You go to these places. You can do all kinds of virtual things online now, so you don't even have to go visit them. You can get enough information if it's in another state. But I encourage you to then, visit and say, if you're really unhappy with your community, then find another community that fits you better, because this is your life we're talking about. And the happier you are in your life, the happier your energy is around you, and then it makes change for other people that are in your life as well, whether it be your partner or your kids or your family or friends. So go ahead, don't be scared. Go ahead and say, it's okay once you see that. And like I said, when you journal, like, hey, I really dislike where I'm living. It is not making me happy at all. I don't enjoy the people around the neighborhood. They're just not on my same, whether it's spiritual or work ethic, or, activity level, whatever it is, age, that you don't feel compatible with it. So then you can find something else that you do. Find another community where you do feel that camaraderie. So once you've looked at those areas, hopefully you may have, out of the 3 areas, you may have 1 or 2 that that your happiness comes from, and only 1 of them you may need to work at. I've changed all 3 in the last few years of mine. I've changed my living environment. I've changed what I do for a living. And I've also changed my relationship. And that is really what was the hardest for me, because I really, truly loved beyond words the person that I was with. And no one could have taken me from this person except myself. And when I realized that I was unhappy because I wasn't treated the same way that I was treating that person, and it was a very difficult decision to make. And I have to be honest, I couldn't have done it without my belief in a higher source. My higher source is God. And I turned to God and asked God for help. And God was actually the one who guided me. And, kind of, I was getting all these messages like, you deserve more than this. This is not fair to you. And, you deserve to be treated better. And, once I saw the reality of what the relationship was, for me, it wasn't an equal match anymore. And then that's when I saw that it was easier to make the decision to leave. And it was still a difficult decision because, that I love unconditionally, and it was very difficult to walk away or decide to walk away from that. But that's why you need that strength. That's why you need to get help, because making a change like that, when you're really honest with yourself and say, there's a lot of things, and we've changed. That's the things, people change. I heard something today where I was doing a meditation, and the person doing the meditation was actually talking about permanence and impermanence, permanence, and how things change even in life. You see trees grow, and landscapes change due to either natural phenomenons or man-made, buildings being put up. Things change, and we're meant to change and grow. And sometimes a person changes and another person changes another way, and it doesn't make either one of them bad people or who's right or who's wrong. It's just something that has happened, and I think that's what happened with my relationship. I changed to be something different, and I wanted something more, and I wanted to give more as well. And we weren't making that connection anymore. So the biggest change I did was to ask for a divorce and get a divorce. And that hasn't been easy. Change is not going to be easy, but it was on my path to unlocking the happiness in my life. And if I compare my life a year ago to now, and 2 years ago, before the move to Hawaii and before the change in my career, I was not happy on a consistent basis. I always tried to force myself to be happy, but on my time alone and my tears that I would cry, especially after moving here to Hawaii, where I knew there was a real issue with my happiness, then once, like I said, take a look at your life, ask yourself the hard questions, because only the hard questions are going to lead you to the change you need to make. If you want to find complete happiness. And that's what I want. I believe that we are meant to be happy on a day-to-day basis, because I believe at our best is when we can do our best, okay, for others and for the world. This changes that I made in myself and were more than for me. It wasn't just a selfish decision. It was like, I want to be better. I want to do more. I want to be a bigger part of, repairing the world or healing the world or changing the world to a different direction. And how can I do that? And one of the things I realized was that I couldn't do it when a lot of my focus was going into trying to heal or repair or understand the direction the relationship had taken. So it was something that I did not give up lightly. I don't want to make light of any of these changes that I've done. That's why I said you have to find your strength. Sometimes it's not easy, and it's a definite journey. But when I compare again to how much I've grown as a woman, I can't even tell you that. It's like I feel I'm living the life I should have been living my whole life and never felt that I was living. So that's the best way that I can explain what my changes did for me in my life. I encourage you to take a look at your life, to ask yourself the hard questions, because really the better we are, the better we can do. And when I say better, it means like in your heart, your inner self, who you are as a person. When you look at yourself and you say, what am I to humanity? What am I doing that makes an impact on humanity on a day-to-day basis? I wasn't doing anything. I was kind of stuck in this energy that was just not happiness, and it was just a pretend positive and trying to be positive, but really not inner living with love, kindness, generosity, the way I wanted to be. So that is my change. I hope that you are happy, and if you're not, I hope you can make change in your life as well, because it really is, life is meant to be filled with happiness and joy and love and generosity, because that's how we're going to make the world a better place.